Hey everyone, it's Ben here. So I've prepared a presentation looking at some of the research around how our nutrition or our diet can affect our immune system. Just before we start, this is in no way our immune system for protecting us against COVID-19 or coronavirus. There's no evidence whatsoever that anything to do with our diet will protect us from that. This is just a topic that's been posted a lot on social media and in the news at the moment. So I thought I'd have a look at the research and present it to you in this video. So hopefully while you're in lockdown, we can be learning something. And it's more about how nutrition could affect the cells that are involved in our immune system and could possibly put us in a better position at risk of things like the common cold to prevent or protect from them. And so yeah, we'll mainly take a look at some of the micronutrients and where we get them from and how important they are. So I hope you enjoy, hope you find it interesting. My email is at the end. If you have any questions, then please do let me know. So without any further ado, we'll make a start. So I've called it Eating for Immunity, a look at the evidence. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Look at the evidence about how our diet can impact our immune system. So what exactly is the immune system? Well, it's a combination of a lot of things, but it's the collective term for all the organs, processes, cells, tissues in the body that are going to help provide resistance or protect us from infection. So this could be white blood cells, really important in attacking the invaders as your body would seize it, or infections. Lymphatic system, this acts like the drainage network, so it manages the fluid levels in the body. The spleen, which is an organ, and the thymus gland, these act like filters. So these are monitoring your blood to see what's in it. So these are obviously really important that they're working at their optimum as well. And bone marrow. So this is the bone tissue in the middle of the bone, and this produces those blood cells, produces the platelets, which platelets help with sort of scab formation and blood coagulation. So lots and lots of parts that are really important, but also what's really important is the physical barriers. So skin provides obviously a real important physical barrier from infection for you. The lungs has small hairs like cilia in the lining, which can move mucus up out of the lungs to be coughed if needs be, and obviously also a really important part because it's highly susceptible to infection. And the digestive tract as well, which contains your microbiome, antibodies, stomach acid. So there's loads of parts of the immune system that are super important. And obviously the nutrition and the food that you give your body is going to affect how well these function. So the link between nutrition and health, regardless of whether it's immunity, any system in the body, any tissue or muscle, the fuel that it gets is important, and this is going to affect how it functions. And immunity is not an exception to the rule, so it's right to think that there definitely is a link. But as with everything, it's all about the balance. So you can see I've put the little scales. We call it homeostasis. If you have too much, so you overload your body with too much, you'll get overnutrition, which is this guy who's got way too much work to do, and this gives chronic nutrient energy stress. So your body just can't deal with all the nutrients. It's got too high a workload. Equally, malnutrition, there's not enough nutrients and your body hasn't got the fuel that it needs. So when it comes to the immune system, the cells doing their job to protect you haven't got the correct fuel or the correct energy to do this. So during the lifetime, you can see along the bottom, we go from birth through adulthood to older age. And then along the side, the y-axis, I've just called this immune development. And you can see as the blue curve comes up, it starts relatively low. Obviously, you're quite susceptible. And this is as your immune system is developing. As you come through adolescence into adulthood, this has got what we would say is a mature immune system. So you're probably the most protected you can be. And then as you age, as with everything, things start to slow down and your immune system starts to decline. So these are the times where we've got to be aware of, and it's probably most important both early and late on to take extra caution over your nutrition. So if you look at this, when you're first born, you're really dependent on your mother's nutrition. Obviously, through 9 months of pregnancy, you're dependent on it, as well as when you're a newborn. And so your innate immunity, this is the part of your immunity that you don't adapt to. The adaptive immunity is once you've had something and you can develop a resistance. Innate immunity is what stays, and so this is still developing, so it's at higher risk. As you come into childhood, multiple nutrient deficiencies, particularly in the developing world, are more common. So you're at higher risk of these, and your adaptive immunity as you're being exposed to more and more things is developing. When you come into adulthood, you've got the highest micronutrient requirements of any point in the life course, but you're also the most well equipped. And this is the time where your current lifestyle factors are going to have the most effects. If you don't exercise, if you are chronically stressed or not getting enough sleep, then this is when it's going to negatively impact your immune system the most. And then as we get into older age, infections can generally become more prolonged, and there's a lot of secondary complications that can happen, and your risk is much higher, dependent on those lifestyle factors earlier in your life as well. And antioxidants become really, really essential for you. So malnutrition. So this can be a number of things: either not eating enough, not being able to absorb the food you're eating, not eating things at the right time, but it's generally just not having the fuel. So it's that empty box that we had a minute ago. It is important to remember, as with a lot of things, your immune system's constantly renewing. So millions of cells every day are getting renewed and old ones are going away. So ongoing good nutrition is really, really important. And this is both macro, so that's protein, fats, and carbs, and then micronutrients, so trace elements, vitamins, minerals are going to be really important for this. And your deficiency in nutrients can impact infections, but not everything the same. So some infections, they may well, having a stronger immune system or certain nutrient deficiencies are going to impact it, but for others, they're definitely not going to have an effect. So a couple of popular myths that I've come across, and you may have, this is not exhaustive by any means, you might have come across more. Take 2 vitamin C supplements, or basically just overload on vitamin C. The truth of this actually is excessive amounts probably won't help you if you're reaching the recommended amount. And for an adult in the UK, something like a large satsuma and 3 large strawberries would pretty much get you to your daily vitamin C. But just taking a small amount of vitamin C, even if you were to take a multivitamin maybe every other day, it could actually, it does seem pretty likely that it's going to reduce risk of common cold, and a little bit less evidence, but still some possibility that it can speed up your improvement if you do have a common cold, or speed up the improvement in symptoms. Eating lots of citrus fruit. So citrus fruit are great, they're healthy, but so are many other parts of the balanced diet. So just overloading on citrus fruits is unlikely to help you hugely. Having them in moderation as part of your overall diet would be a good thing. Frozen fruit and veg being useless isn't really true. A mixture of them both is fine. They're still a healthy choice. They still contain good nutrition, and so they're a good part of your diet. And then specific immune boosters. So these can be some supplements that maybe haven't got the testing behind them, or they're specifically marketed for you must have these to boost your immune system. There's no huge body of evidence behind that. The main thing is getting enough sleep, good nutrition, low stress, enough exercise. And these are all going to be much more important to you than one specific product targeted for one thing for improving your immune system. So individual nutrients. So there are studies. These aren't the highest quality studies in our kind of hierarchy of research. But there are studies that show that there are nutrients that they would class as essential, or they're really, really important for this optimal functioning of your immune system. And these are some that have been included. So we'll spend some time going through these. So vitamin A, one of the most common micronutrient deficiencies in the world, vitamin A is. This is a study I came across, a meta-analysis of 43 studies. So this is where they combine the results of 43 smaller studies to try and look for answers that maybe some of them on their own wouldn't have picked up. This meta-analysis had a total of just under 250,000 children were included in their analysis, and they found that those children that were given vitamin A supplementations generally had association with lower mortality, lower morbidity, and less vision problems. So that's really, really promising. And vitamin A, from like the theoretical knowledge in immunity, we know it supports production and maintenance of white blood cells, and so they were first on our list. They're really important in the immune system. I did look deeper in the study, and what's really important to know though is that The majority of these studies, included in this meta-analysis, were all done in the developing world. So they were done in a population who were generally at risk of being deficient. And so the supplements were taking them from being vitamin A deficient into having sufficient. And there's a big, big difference in going from deficiency to getting enough, from getting enough to taking excess. And so maybe that says less good about the supplement in particular, but more the importance of vitamin A. And even if you're getting that as part of your diet, that's equally important. So sources of vitamin A, there's different types. So retinol, which would be in omega-3s or cod liver oil, animal liver. I wouldn't eat that too much. If you're pregnant though, don't eat livers because they're really, really high. Cheese, milk, so dairy products. And then also in dark orange and green fruit and veg, and this is what you'd have heard of in carrots. The myth, well, it's not. There is the well-known idea that carrots improve night vision. Carotenoids, beta carotene, these are pro-vitamin A. So basically what that means is you take beta carotene in and your body has the ability to convert it into vitamin A. So it's still really good. And so from things like these, this is what you should be getting plenty of. And for in the UK, for us here, we should be able to easily get adequate of that in our diet. So we'll have a look at vitamin C and how it helps with immunity. So it supports the functions of the cells that are working in our immune system. This epithelial barrier it supports as well. And so what the epithelium is it's a protective surface around loads of body tissues. So it's obviously really, really important. It's the wall outside the cells, and vitamin C is going to help support its work properly. So for our immune system, it's important. It protects against oxidative stress, and oxidative stress, you could do a whole presentation on oxidative stress. What that is an imbalance of free radicals, and it's all about a disequilibrium in oxygen electrons. It's really not interesting. And antioxidants, which you obviously hear a lot about, antioxidants being important because they try and regain that balance. And so vitamin C is an antioxidant in that it's going to fight against these free radicals and reduce oxidative stress. Is as simple as we need to know. And definitely one thing that's really, really interesting is that if you are suffering from a severe infection, whatever that may be, your daily vitamin C levels are going to be reduced, or what you need in vitamin C is going to increase as a result, because your body has no vitamin C store, so you have to consume it each day. If you don't consume it that day, your body can't use the vitamin C you ate yesterday or what that you ate last Thursday. You have to be eating it each day. And so, yeah, the conclusion I would come to is optimizing your vitamin C is definitely going to improve the function of your immune system. So B vitamins, there's a whole group of B vitamins, but three of the most important. Down the left here, B6, B9. B9 is folate, and vitamin B9, that's the same thing, and vitamin B12. And then if we take a look at the second column, it's key roles. So they do all cross over a little bit, as you can see by the impact of deficiency, but aiding regulation, producing cytokines and NK cells. We'll come to NK cells in a second. And then folate maintains NK cells and really important in the antibody response. And then B12, function of NK cells. So NK actually stands for natural killer cells. And me being me, if you're thinking about how important the immune system is, natural killer cell sounds like it's important, and we probably want some. So B vitamins are standing out as something that are going to be important. And what's interesting is actually if someone's deficient in one of these, you generally can't clinically tell the difference. You just get this overall lowered antibody, decreased, dampened immune response. So they all work quite similarly. So we'll look at the sources food-wise. You can get these from B6, so eggs, fish, meat, fruit and veg, potatoes and whole grains. Folate is generally from green leafy veg, broccoli, spinaches, kales, cabbage. This is where you want to be getting your folate from. And then also from some fortified cereals and from a few other fruit and vegetables. And then B12 is generally from animal products, although also there are fortified grains and cereals as well that provide you with B12. In general, supplements aren't needed. If you're following a strict vegan or vegetarian diet, then B12 supplements can be recommended, although your body store of vitamin B12 is about 3 to 5 years. So it's not something that you need to be supplementing every single day. And in general, a varied balanced diet, even if it's plant-based but has a few animal products, you'll be getting absolutely enough in in the UK of all of these B vitamins. And taking excessive supplements as well, I should note, of any of these or all of them, if you're ongoing taking too many supplements, that could definitely be an issue and be harmful. So vitamin K, this is a fat-soluble vitamin. What that means is it requires dietary fats to work, and really, really important in bone health and blood coagulation. So there's been some studies and some links looking at the connection between vitamin K and certain diseases, and some lower level evidence has said that there's definitely a relationship, but they're not sure. But there's definitely really limited understanding of exactly how vitamin K and immunity are kind of linked together. My conclusion would be vitamin K is super important to you, but it probably is not the one that I would be focusing on. It's vitamin K is all in dark green leafy veg. So similar to your folate, it's going to be really important, but if you're looking to boost immunity, a vitamin K supplement is not what would be top of my shopping list. So selenium, this is an antioxidant. So this is going to help us with that oxidative stress. And there's a group of enzymes called selenoproteins. So it's no surprise that named after selenium is going to be really important for how these enzymes work. And some of the evidence I've looked through, definitely if you're selenium deficient, then this could increase viral virulence. So this basically can mean the severity or the aggressiveness of a virus, or how much that virus might affect you and your symptoms. And there's a link as well that if infants are deficient in selenium, then this could be associated with raising their risk of respiratory complications as well. My conclusion would be, if you have a balanced diet, if you live in the developed world, probably you are unlikely to be selenium deficient, and so taking a supplement's not universally recommended. Iron, so you've probably heard of iron, not that type of iron in the top right, sorry, is actually the most common micronutrient deficiency in the world, and responsible for iron deficiency anemia, and really, really important for your cognitive, so your brain development, particularly in young age. And so one reason iron's so important is your cells divide just like this. They can split and divide and grow, and iron's really, really important for that process. So if you don't have it, that makes sense that your cognitive development's not going to be quite as good, and it's crucial for your red blood cells. So what I've seen in the literature, both excess, so having too much iron, and being deficient of it, will influence your immune system. And the children who have been found to have iron deficiency anemia, they had some impaired immune system activity. So the science is at the stage where we can see these associations and these correlations, but not been universally sort of rigorously tested. And so definitely the immune system was dampened, but not 100% sure exactly how. And it's also not clear whether there's a long-term impact. If you spend a year in your childhood being iron deficient, or indeed at any time, if that goes on to have a long-term effect on the function of your immune system. So zinc, again, another one you probably heard of. This is a trace element, which is really, really essential in the human diet, and it's important for a whole range of activities of the immune system. And definitely if you are zinc deficient, this will suppress your immune response. So your immune system's not going to work as well. And supplements have been shown that they could reduce common cold incidence. So that's your risk of common cold. And there's some evidence about them protecting age-related diseases in the elderly. I haven't seen any really pinpoint ones on these, but zinc is definitely a really, really important part of your diet. So if we look at all three of them, where you're getting them from: selenium, meat, eggs and fish, and then also in Brazil nuts, they can be quite high, although I do know there's huge variation. You could buy one bag of Brazil nuts that have been farmed somewhere, and then another bag of Brazil nuts that have been farmed 100 miles down the road, and there's selenium status can be completely different. So that's quite interesting, and it means you need to mind out for that. Iron, again, meat, beans, and nuts, green vegetables, and dried fruit, and zinc, meats, shellfish, cheese. They are cashews there, although they look like small bananas, and eggs. And so generally for us, we should be able to get these in our diet, and if you are taking too many of these supplements too often, then they could be dangerous. And I did just put in a note, I used red meat icons here, but you could, this is also poultry, so lean meats, chicken, turkey will also provide you with these as well. So you don't have to be having steak every day to get those. So some key takeaways to take from this: your diet does play a part in making sure you're at the most optimum position to prevent illness. It doesn't impact us all the same, and it doesn't impact all diseases or infection risks the same. And most specific sort of links saying you must have this micronutrient for X or whatever, it hasn't been studied, and there just isn't the clear link. We just know overall having a healthy, well-balanced diet that reaches all your micronutrient and macronutrient targets is going to be really, really helpful for you and will help your immune system. Ensuring you reach these is really important, and taking excess supplements for particularly over long term, could be harmful. And I've put this in right at the end because I think it's really, really important and it's crucial. I think people will get lulled into a false sense of security, even if they've had 2 satsumas that day, of then taking multiple zinc and vitamin C supplements thinking that will protect them. That will do nothing, because you're going from having enough to then just taking excess. Your body doesn't need it. A lot of the supplement studies are taking people from deficient, where they're not getting enough from their diet, and then making it sufficient or enough. And so it shows a benefit. So that's really, really important. And don't think that just by taking a load of supplement, then you can not sort of prioritize it in your diet. That's not the healthiest way of going about it. Anyway, thank you so much if you made it this far. Hope you really enjoyed it and hopefully learned a thing or two. If you have any questions while we're still in lockdown and obviously we can't see each other face to face, then that's my email at the bottom. And please let me know if you have any questions or if I can help at all.